This channel, Casa Plataforma de Oração, was created on YouTube with the purpose of spreading good tidings, sharing information, exchange experience and teachings with everyone. Through this first communication, we want to share our brothers and sisters the love, delight, affection and comfort of our Master Jesus, who lives within us. Brothers and sisters in faith on the path, regardless of religion, because many other houses, this is also a universalist house, where the brothers and sisters feel welcomed and the brotherly love of Christ Jesus in our hearts, and also in the hearts of who attend this house and who generously offer themselves as an instrument for spirituality in the field of Christ. The brothers and sisters of this house are available also as a universalist house, in addition to practice of the fraternity of charity with love, receiving questions and sharing information that provides growth in the content, teachings, aspirations, with diversity thoughts that contribute to the winning for formation of all. With the continuity of the communications, we will bring information content, the history of the platform house of prayer, with the presentation of members who started this work and the purpose of the house. We believe in the reciprocity of members of this house towards the brothers who will follow us in the videos and ebooks, as well as in many other houses, that certainly our mentors from Casa Plataforma de Oração, who made themselves available so that this work could be carried out. May you all be in the peace of Jesus, and may the mentors can be guiding our steps that spirituality can present in our lives. And so the brothers and sisters can also be blessings in the lives of many, and that the blessings of Jesus be showered on the lives of everyone who watches us and reads the ebooks. Stay in peace. Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. My name is Sabrina, and I am one of the members of the house. I was invited to be part of Casa Plataforma de Oração, and I will talk a little bit about myself. I am evangelical. I was baptized in the evangelical religion, more or less, if I am not wrong, at the age of 20 years old, 24, 28 years old. I've been on this journey for a long time, and a lot of spirituality was working on. It was a little different for me. My mediumship started to develop more towards spiritism when I was already 30, 32 years, or more or less. It was very funny because in the religion that I was baptized, the evangelical, we do not have this contact with spirits in this very strong way like the spiritism has. I started to have this contact without waiting, the Chavis would say, without waiting to. That scared me a lot, a little, because in the evangelical religion that doesn't happen. But it was developing, working, and the mentors, the spirits, were slowly and gradually working in a very subtle way on me, even so that I wouldn't feel so much, I wouldn't be so lost. This was very important for me. The help of my sister, who also knew how to understand me. She is also an evangelical from birth, and sought help from other places with other people who understood, who knew, and that was very important. This support that I had and it made all the difference so that today I could be with my spiritual side more grounded. We have to be grounded every day in a firmer way. Also, my boyfriend, that over time we got to know each other. He will talk a little about himself later too. We helped a lot from the moment we met. This intensified even more that issue of my mediumship, my spiritual side, and since I have been having wonderful experience that are adding a lot to my life, and not only personally but also professionally too. When a reformation all the time, I have to be policing myself always, trying to give my best, and what I do, always listen to the instructions of my mentors. Once they know, they guide us in what is the best for us. So, my story is more or less like this. I'm summarizing so it doesn't get too long. I waited a long time to be part of a place where I felt good, because even though I liked going to the church, I felt a little lost in terms of, let's say, the rules, the doctrine, so I didn't fit there. But I kept going anyway, and I worked at my house seeking and never failing to seek God, never failing to seek Jesus, always looking to be feeding my mind, like we always say in the evangelical religion, with the things from above, and as Chico Xavier also said and guided. So yes, it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot in the Casa Plataforma de Oração, has helped me even more for being universalist, for understanding. The mentors understand the need of each other here in this path and this early journey regarding the spiritual, what each one of us came to do, what each one needs to accomplish in the course of their journey, has added a lot in my life. More and more, I just have to thank to the mentors for the Casa Plataforma de Oração, and I also hope that as well as in my life it can be added in the lives of all of you too, just as it has added to my life and is adding to it as a whole. May the Plataforma de Oração be adding to your lives too. You're welcome. We are here with much love, with great affection, to share our experience, to receive too. We are open to the experience that brothers and sisters have to share with us. This is summary of my trajectory. Stay in peace. Hi everyone, my name is Pedro Augusto. I am also one of the members of Casa Plataforma de Oração. I'm here to introduce myself so that the brothers and sisters can get to know me a little. Since I was little, I have always had very strong mediumship, and I didn't understand why I had it. I was a little misunderstood, but I was carrying on my life like that. I had many conscious astral projections with the vision and with extra physical clarions, with conscience too, and I was carrying on life normally, school, college, friends, but without knowing why I had that very strong mediumship. I led a normal life until my youth, adolescence to the adulthood. That normal life of night out, drinking, date many girls, travel, carnival. I lived the life like that. But studying of the course, working, but I have fun, a normal life like any other young person. Sometimes I would say a few prayers and talk to God and ask you why I had all those spiritual gifts and why I had those experiences with spirits of different kinds. Shall we say very different, and the astral projections that took me to several different places. I asked myself and I never had an answer. Even went to some spiritual houses just to ask, and no one gave me answers until I met Sabrina. I am Sabrina's boyfriend. I met her and the answers came. I'm 38 years old and I was 30 years old when I met her, and that moment the spirits talked to me and I was called to the job. I decided to accept it. I always had a little expansion of consciousness even without having attended any religion. I always had a vision, a very broad vision regarding the infinite, regarding the spirits. I never managed to join or enter in any religion. I never managed to because found some dogmas, some rules, doctrines, and I didn't like very much. Now that I didn't want to do the inner reformation, it was just because I thought there were a lot of dogmas and that bothered me. So I ended up not staying in any religion, but I always respected. I always respected all religions and I think it's cool. I like it. I've been to evangelical churches, Catholic churches, and a spiritist center and a Umbanda center, and from that time I went to them when people called me, and I always respected, but I never entered in any religion. So when I met Sabrina, more or less 3 years ago, and the spirit spoke to me through her, they used her as a channel, and we had long conversations. They explained everything to me, and then all the answers came. I decided to accept. And I went through a whole inner reformation process, abandoning old practice, because I think when you are doing serious spiritual work, we should abandon certain practice, such as alcohol, many women, even though she was not my girlfriend when this happened. I was dating her. I was in the beginning. But I decided to stop all this to do a deep inner reformation. Then we started the spiritual work that has been 3 years. Now receive the direction to record the videos and make the channel, and we are in the first presentation video, hoping you all like it. I have no religion, and here it's a universalist house where we do not discriminate against anyone. Everyone from any religion can come, even because the members of the house are from different religions. We have spirits, Humanists, evangelicals like Sabrina and her sister, and so people without religion like me. So welcome everyone. May you all be very blessed by God. Thank you so much. Stay in peace. Well, brothers and sisters, my name is Sonia. I'm Sabrina's sister, mother, because I raised Sabrina since she was born. My mother passed away when Sabrina was very young, and I raised her as a daughter. She was, like me, raised in the church. I'm evangelical, I was born and raised in the church. The experience I had in my childhood was remarkable. We had a neighborhood who came an Umbanda practitioner, and my mother had a great friendship with her. Every year on Cosme and Damian's Day, my mother prepared and tidied us up and sent us to the Umbanda Center to participate in the party. Our church didn't accept it. They thought we were going to eat foods that were sanctified to idols, saints, and the evangelical church didn't accept it. But my mother respected this lady. When my mother got sick and died, this lady was very important in our lives because I had to go out to work and she went early to feed my siblings so I could work, and when I returned I knew that she went there early, feed them a smoothie and send them to school, and this touched my life a lot because I used to say it's not possible because in my religion we were taught that this religion worshiped demons. I was like, no, there is something else that it's not explained and I need answers. A person like that, no, it's not possible. And then with time I started to be interested in reading other books to seek knowledge because I wanted to understand more. When my sister decided to be baptized to follow the church and the evangelical religion, she was baptized in the Holy Spirit. I had the baptism in the Holy Spirit and I began to develop my mediunity and began to embody entities. She began to talk to mentors and the mentors came to talk with her. I was worried because within the evangelical religion her mediumship would not be understood and I tried to protect her. Worried about the repercussion, I didn't want her to suffer discrimination. I didn't want her to be mistreated. I went searching for help to understand what was happening to her and then help her because always remember this lady and the importance she had in my life. I went after this knowledge until I found people who helped me, guided me, and I started this work together with these people. So I started this working on Plataforma de Oração, and then Pedro came. At first it was me, Solange, Sabrina, my husband, my son sometimes participated. Then Pedro came and it grew. People came and we were invited by spirituality to participate in the work, which is a work whose direction is spiritual. It is a universalist work in which the brothers and sisters we met people from different religions and we all united in favor of our spiritual growth, in favor of helping everybody. I believe that just as I faced this difficulty, my sister faced those difficulties too. I had an open mind to seek help, to assist her so she could develop her mediumship better. I believe that many brothers and sisters have the same difficulty because today I see the importance of knowing other religions. I started to study other religions. I went to the theology college. I went deeper into the study of other religions because I believed that there was something more, something beyond what the doctrine limited us. I saw that the doctrine of evangelical religion was limiting, and I needed to go beyond, because what I was experiencing needed content, and I went looking for it. So I believe that, like me, many must have the same problem. So I leave here my experience to the brothers and sisters. May the peace of the Lord reign in the heart of all. Jesus blesses. Amen. I'm following these folks here, all Catholic, Protestant, Spiritists. So I was a boy in the 50s. Imagine, in the 50s, 1950s. My parents didn't really have a religion, but they were kind of spiritists. They subscribed to a magazine, The Reformer. I never forgot The Reformer, a monthly magazine. I lived through it. I found it very interesting. And then I discovered that they had some books there, such as the Spirit's book, the Medium's book, and this thing that evangelicals also have the gospel according to Spiritism. Things like that, and I also lived through these books. I never dedicated myself. Now I have to explain why I am a materialist, because we live in a materialistic world. At least I live in a materialistic world. Materialize the world, so it depends on us, on our five senses. Even the air that is enveloping it. It has a lot of air here, but I don't feel that air. I know it does, but I don't feel it, because these five senses don't tell me that it's an air here. If it did, I wouldn't know, either, because I went to study, I went to school, so I know there is air. But at the time I studied the universe, it was an empty vacuum. Today, from what I have read and obtained information, is that in reality the universe is full, but matter, but not the one we know. So I perfectly accept that, and there is matter that we don't know, but it's formidable and fantastic, because you see it, and it's a matter that science is starting to discover today, and it has a certain quark in the boson of Higgs, neutrinos. Look, a serious business. Look, it's fantastic. It's a matter that we don't feel in our five senses. So accepting this matter, after what I saw, so much experience with spirits and things like that, I came to believe that spirits are made of something. I believe that they are made of this matter, and that we still don't know, but, well, it seems that one day we will know. My name is Jill. Good night. Stay with God and stay in the peace of the Lord. Hi, how are you, brothers and sisters? My name is Fernanda. I am one of the mediums of Casa Plataforma de Oração. I'll introduce myself. I have and I live a normal life. I'm still living everything normal like school, but unlike my brothers and sisters who work with me, I did not have intuitions or anything like that. It might even seem like it, but it wasn't. and I couldn't discern it, as if it were intuition. Little by little, I became interested in spirituality. In adolescence, I started to get interested in esotericism. I went to Kardec Center focusing on Kardec. I studied Buddhism, and I also went to the church, not specifically, but I was interested in the message passed there. In that place, specifically the temple, and I attended it without following anything specifically. Regarding my life outside the spiritual subjects, normal school life, normal college life, friends, and a life, let's say, very mundane, very normal, with drinks, going out, friends, bars, until recently. And little by little, I am slowly excluding this kind of attitude, this kind of practice. It has been very natural because I can't force myself to do anything that I am not totally happy with. Doing this part of my personality, it's all very natural. The work here is being natural, and now I'm going to explain a little how I ended up here. One day, I was in a bar with friends, as it was normal, quite normal for me. This was part of my daily life when a person who I was at the table started talking about things about my life that only I knew. This intrigued me because I already used to go to the people who did chronology, shell, divination, those things. I had never been to Umbanda Center specifically, but I had basic knowledge about spirituality, but nothing too deep. I haven't much understanding, not that. I have it now because I had less before. He talked a lot about my life and started to go to Umbanda Center that I really like. There, later, they told me that I was being prepared to come here. So there, I started to understand more about spirituality and how our life works, because my understanding today, spirituality is not religion, it's part of our life. It's natural. So we live with it on a basis, on the daily basis and it's normal. There is nothing else. It isn't nothing different. There is nothing of occult. This is part of our life. So it took a little while to understand it. I started to feel things in this Umbanda Center, in the Gira, mediunic work in the Umbanda. And then I said, I'm not a medium. I don't feel anything. Why am I feeling these things? So, for me, it was a stranger. And at the same time, it was new and I felt afraid. I thought about leaving because it was something I didn't imagine. I was just looking for more knowledge and answers to my questions. So I started having contact with incorporations at that time, having more understanding about inner reformation, about changes. I believe we are going to talk a lot about inner reformation. Getting more into this subject was all natural, without me having to push myself to do it. Once I never followed a religion because I couldn't imagine myself forced into a situation, having to have a responsibility beyond what I would like, and when you see that, you can follow responsibilities naturally with love. It is really very cool. So I received an invitation from one of the mentors to work on the platform, and then my questions started to be answered naturally. My worldly desires were decreasing naturally. I know this is not a fast change, and even because we are in the incarnate situation at this moment, we really have to live with this kind of a thing. But if we can be aware of it, it changed it very cool. So that's it. That's it, guys. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters and friends. And for sure, we are going to have a really amazing path together. Bye bye. Hello, my name is Alan. I am one of the members of Casa Plataforma de Oração. I'm here to introduce and talk a little about myself. I don't have a specific religion. I never had it. Since I was little, I have had some contacts with spirits, with spirituality. Some phenomena happened to me, and I didn't understand very well. I didn't know how to explain it, but I was never curious to know, to be able to understand. So I lived a normal life. I have been living it until today. I went through my adolescence like this, getting to know some religions. For a while I stayed in an evangelical church, but I didn't adapt, so I left. Then I got to know a catechist center. I attended for a little time also, but I didn't adapt to the doctrine. I carried on normally, trying to improve my ways, which I thought was right and necessary for life in a community. Over time, I always asked my internal questions, and there was always that emptiness, lacking of an answer. I never had it. Maybe that's why I wasn't able to follow one religion during my life. When I got to know the Casa de Oração, I didn't hold on to any doctrine, any dogma, anything to follow, a very natural thing. Then I was invited by the spirituality to be part of that house. Then I got to know the inner reformation in deep. I started to practice and understand it. Because one thing is to know it, another thing is to practice the reformation and start changing. The change started with yourself, and these questions start to get smaller. They began to comfort me, and answers about myself were answered through study and through the dialogue between the members of the house, through the work itself. So I accepted this invitation, and I am very happy here. And this questioning, this emptiness that has often been with me on this journey is filled up. So the importance of the work of a universalist house that does not lead you to any rigorous doctrine, any dogma. Things happen naturally. Knowledge comes naturally. Always trusting the mentors of the house, our personal mentors, with understanding, with study, with work, serious work. And it's that we are getting this internal improvement. That is the basis of everything. And these questions have been resolved until then. To continue our life, spirituality itself, I got to know a little more with this desire to know more in deep, gave me more strength and even to go on with the problems of life, the daily routine of a normal life, as a normal person takes it. So, this work is a very special work for me, and I hope to continue and always adding and being able to help me and help everyone during this walk for more this life. Thank you so much for staying in peace. Hello, my name is Solange Veloso. I've been a member of Casa de Oração since the beginning. I will talk a little bit about my spiritual story, about the story of my spiritual quest. In childhood, I was taken by my parents to the Catholic Church and I attended Catholicism. I made my first communion and I attended the youth group when I was a teenager, but I didn't identify much and I ended up not going anymore. A little later, about my 25 years old, near 25, 30 years old, I met a person and because more interested in observing that person who was a spiritist specifically, and became interested in knowing what her spiritual questions was. And I started because of this person. I searched for spiritist house, those in that format where they have spiritist meetings, lectures, and then I started to attend this house for a while. I learned a lot from the lectures and I kept myself a little bit in the reading part. In more informal way, reading about the doctrines of Allan Kardec, I identified a lot with the Allan Kardec's doctrine. I identify myself very much with Allan Kardec until today. He answers my questions. I really like the doctrine. After that, a spiritist house appeared in my life. It crossed my path. I started in a residence with small meetings, similar to the platform. Then this house I started to participate in the meetings in the residence. Then they moved. The house was changed to another big one with better conditions. Then, after a while, an assistance was attended to. There was a line at the door with people who went to be attended. We made an initial healing touch there, a spiritual service, and then for those who needed it, there was a medication emanation. This house was even in the process of being registered with the Spiritist Federation. I was going to help with the paperwork, but it ended up not happening. Well, it was in this house that I incorporated a spirit for the first time with the help of an entity that I worked incorporated. I had a white table there, a table with a white cloth, and people were around this table. In these houses I started to go entities that I talked about, Exu, Ere, Umbanda entities. But they worked with the table and I identified myself a lot there. We were in the connection for God to help many people, and there my incorporation process began. There are already occasionally incorporated lots of spirits, spirit without lights, spirit that need help. Some brother of the house talked to these spirits through me, incorporated for indoctrination, and since then I have been work. I have used my mediumship in this way to give way, to give space, to give place to a spirit that needs to be taught, to be indoctrinated. Those who need to talk, need to be heard, need to be instructed. Later, the house closed and I did for a long time just worship at home. At that time, I read a lot Allan Kardec's doctrine. In fact, I did a more systematic study every Sunday for an hour at night. I studied for, I'm not sure, more than 5 years, more or less 10 years in that period. I read the whole doctrine, all 5 books, 3 times. When I got to the last one, I would go back to the first one, and as many times as I read it, they were always new things to learn, and they would be like new books every time. So it was a very good period for me. Knowing this, I was interested in the doctrine of Allan Kardec. A friend. Actually, we are family by affinity. We have a family bound by affinity, not by blood. She asked me for help, and today she is also a member of Casa de Oração. She's Sabrina. She was at the beginning having spirit contacts she couldn't explain, and she asked me to explain some things. Very small explanations, because I think she received more explanation from the spiritual world than from me. I think it was for me to be called to join the group, and then it was at that moment that the meetings started on Saturday afternoons. It started occasionally. We got together, and then we started to meet systematically on Saturdays. Little by little, one day here, another day there, another incorporation, another indoctrination, and today we work in this way. As my colleagues in the group have already explained it, they have already talked about their vision. We work by helping for spirits in need, spirits who need information, light, help, acceptance, love, instruction. As for me personally, as I would very much like to talk about how the Casa de Oração acted in my life, now that I have looked for it, but very notorious that it has happened. I have always been a person who felt a lot of energy imbalance, weakness. Let's say awakening. Maybe because of my negative thoughts, maybe because of fears of life, and finally, in this aspect, with the messages we hear on the Casa de Oração, through the challengings of all this, make us very strong. Hearing this information, but it also gives us strengthening, so that we can do the work. I feel an extra extracting, so I feel that the house helping us, strengthening us, so we can do the work. In this strengthening, we also transfer from our life. In that sense, in what sense? Sense of facing adversity, sense of falling and to get up again, strength to keep life in a positive way, to have gratitude. Gratitude help us a lot to continue, and knowledge of the reasons for our missions and why we go through certain things make us all stronger. So this is strengthening and very noticeable for me. I also realize that through life, difficulties increase, and ease to face them also increase. That is, there are possibilities to face greater difficulties. Little by little we come, and I think this spiritual search brings discomfort, let's say, this happiness. So I hope I made it clear, and I said what was most important to me, to my life as a member of Casa de Oração. Thank you so much, and a hug.